Today, Saturday of the first week of Lent, we come to the ever-famous San Pietro in Vaticano. Benedict XVI rightly described this basilica as the heart of the Roman Church. So much may be said of this basilica with regard to both the exterior and interior, much more than what can be shared during this video. So instead, I'd like to highlight the history of the basilica. The first structure on this site to concern us was a circus built by the Emperor Caligula around the year AD 40. It was here that the leader of the apostles was crucified upside down at his own request, so as to die in a way yet more humiliating than that of his master. Soon after, his simple tomb in the style of a poor man's grave was constructed by leaning tiles together in the shape of a tent over his shallow grave. This was soon succeeded by a small shrine, which was the focus of devotion here until the legalization of Christianity under Constantine. As part of this emperor's building program on behalf of the church, a large basilica was built on the side of the Vatican Hill. This required much earth moving to prepare the surface so that the basilica could be built directly over the saint's grave. The building of this first basilica of St. Peter began in about 320, being completed before the close of the decade. At first, it mainly served as a covered cemetery in which Christians could be buried near the great saint, although Eucharistic celebrations would be occasionally held on a temporary altar near his shrine. In the late 6th century, the first permanent altar was built over his tomb, around the same time that the sanctuary was greatly enlarged and remodeled. In the succeeding centuries, the basilica was repeatedly embellished and damaged, remaining all the while one of the most important churches in Christendom. In the 15th century, the first plans began to replace this church with one more telling of the grandeur of the newly revitalized Rome during the Renaissance. In 1506, Pope Julius II laid the cornerstone for the current basilica, and over the following 120 years, construction continued in fits and starts. When it began, Europe was united under the authority of the Pope, and the New World had just been discovered by Columbus. By the time of its dedication, Europe, sadly, was divided by wars of religion between Catholic and Protestant, and the settlement of the English colonies in North America was well underway. Many famous architects contributed to the design of the building, among them Bramante, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Moderno. Even after the dedication of the basilica on November 18, 1626, the work continued. Much of this took place under Bernini, who was responsible for the Ciborium, the sculptural group in the apse, and the colonnade of St. Peter's Square in the front of the church. Since the return of the papacy from Avignon in 1376, the Pope normally resides here, so many annual papal liturgies happen here. It's also the setting for extraordinary events, such as the election of the new popes. Thus, this church honors her first shepherd in this city, and here, that since his martyrdom, she has celebrated both his witness and the God he served.